Hello there guys, and welcome to Mad Doc Minis. This box of Empire halberdiers is where it all started for me. My dad got me this when I was about 5, and yes, I started with Warhammer Fantasy. I loved them, I still do love them, and I want to make Primaris Space Marines inspired by these gorgeous miniatures. So I started by undercoating some Primaris Marines with Standard Mechanicus Grey, and then I came in with Talassar Blue over the top of that, and that really dulls that colour down to a beautiful deep blue. I was really impressed with the results on going over a darker base coat here. I painted one leg and one arm in that colour because I'm going for that quartered colour scheme that we can see in those Altdorf halberdiers. I then come in on the opposite arm and leg with Mephiston Red, which is a really good base coat red. This is not a painting tutorial, guys. I know I'm not that good. I'm just telling you what I did. Now here I'm going over the torso section with bolt gun metal, or I should say, what is it, lead belcher. Sorry, I'm going into old terms here. It must be the nostalgia kicking in. And you can see I've done that on the backpack as well. Then I come in with Black Templar over the weapon. I'm deciding not to do anything bright with the weapon as the rest of the miniature is quite colourful anyway. I then come in on the red with Evil Sunz Scarlet to kind of brighten it up a little bit. I'm not going for super saturated here. I want a little bit of grim dark, but I want them to kind of pop a little bit more. So I just enhance that red a little bit over the top. I then come in and paint the Aquila on the chest with Retributor armor, which is a really good gold paint, sort of one coat and done job that. I then use a little bit of Null to shade all the recesses. I don't go over everything. I'm quite selective with that. Unlike what I normally do, of course, which is lather the miniature in the stuff, I'm being a little bit more purposeful here. I then pick out the kind of metal sections on the bolter with lead belcher again, and also the strap on the bolter is going to get a coat of brown, and the brown I'm going to use is Mournfang brown. That's quite a nice rich brown, again kind of like one coat and done really. It's a really good paint. I then super glued the arms on. It's very unusual for me to paint in sub-assemblies like this, but I wanted to try and, do my best with these. So I put the arms on and it's all starting to come together. I spray painted the rest of the sprue and then chopped off a couple of pauldrons. So these are undercoated in the same Standard Mechanicus Grey. And I super glue those in place, and then I set about painting those up in lead belcher as well, or at least one side in lead belcher I should say. The other side is going to have the kind of heraldry on, so I go for a coat of Rathbone on that side so the colours will really pop. I also do that on the right knee pad as well. So after that, I decide to colour in some of the kind of under armour there in lead belcher as well. Again, not something I would normally do. And that kind of, makes everything look a little bit nicer, I think. I then select one of the Primaris helmets off the sprue. Once again, this has all been undercoated on the sprue, so that's ready to go. That gets super glued into place and once again gets painted with lead belcher. There's a lot of lead belcher in this painting style here. So once I've painted the helmet, guys, I then turn to that nice left pauldron and decide to paint it in kind of left and right kind of halves. So yellow, Imperial Fist yellow, and Evil Sunz Scarlet. Really bright colours. I do the same on the knee pad as well, going quite careful to get a nice division down the centre line there. And yeah, that's looking really good. I'm glad I undercoated it brightly because it really does make it pop a little bit more. Just a careful hand does the job on trying to divide that into two halves. I did go the opposite way around from the box art because the yellow side looked better facing forward with the rest of the armor. You'll see what I mean. It's the opposite size, yellow and red on the actual original box, but I decided to do that because there was too much red on one side otherwise when you looked at the Marine, and we can see that nice yellow from the front, which I think works better. I then got hold of these on eBay. These are great transfers, which are kind of exactly the same as the original transfers virtually that you would get with the Altdorf halberdiers. So I carefully cut those out and I snip around them very precisely there because they're on a continuous backing. So if you've got transfers on a continuous backing sheet, you will need to cut them very close to the design, otherwise you'll get a nasty film all around it. So once I did a little bit of jiggery pokery with that, that was ready to be placed on the left pauldron as the chapter icon. And that looks so good when it goes on there. It really brings the whole thing together, and it's kind of realized what I was after really in trying to emulate these Empire halberdiers. A little bit of microsol does the trick in helping the transfer to adhere to the contours of the shoulder pad there. As you can see, I used a much smaller version of that transfer on the knee pad as well, and that's a nice little touch, I think. So after that's been done, I then come in and tidy up around the edge of that pauldron with some more lead belcher. And it's kind of nearly there now, really. I'm going to put these up on a rotating platform for you to look at and you know, let me know what you think, guys. First of all, we've got a single marine, so you can get an idea of how I painted it. Not high level at all. This is all quite quickly painted, but to a slightly higher level than I would do for my rank and file infantry in my homebrew chapter, which conversely is quite kind of muted colors. I designed a color scheme for my homebrew chapter that was very quick to paint, and I wanted to paint some of these up as kind of allies, I guess you could say. I will show you one of my homebrew marines in a minute, but for the meanwhile, let's take a look at the whole squad so you get an idea of what they look like all together. Fairly grimdark. You could brighten these up quite a lot with some edge highlighting and brighter colors. I think that would be more true to the original miniatures that inspired this, but I wanted them to be fairly grimdark light, shall we say. So this is the color scheme for my homebrew chapter, and as you can see, it's quite drab. It's just kind of Mechanicus grey and Mephiston red pauldrons with a kind of non-oil wash thrown over the top. No finesse at all. Very quick to paint, which is my style, but I wanted to have some more interesting looking allies, you know, splash of color here and there, and I think that really helps the overall look of the army if you can have some colors going on. So back to one of the Altdorf Marines now. Thank you ever so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate your time. Please like, share and subscribe if you've enjoyed the content, and do let me know what you think. Just a little bit of fun this video. Hope you enjoyed the trip down memory lane, and let me know if you had any of these original Altdorf halberdiers yourself. I have really fond memories of times back then, and Warhammer Fantasy was excellent. I'm really glad to see the old world coming back into the scene as well. Take care, guys. I will catch you in another video soon.